Welcome back to On the Record. I'm Jonathan Friedman, joined alongside Mark Z. Mark.
I like being right alongside you, John.
It's a great day here, and On the Record from the offices of O'Brien and Levine Court Reporting Services. And our next guest with us is Tiffany Howard. Tiffany from Burns & Levinson. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for coming in. Tell us a little bit about probate litigation. I understand that you work within the probate and family law practice at Burns & Levinson, so...
I do. I'm an associate in the private client group at Burns & Levinson, and so my practice encompasses several different areas. I do some estate planning, I do some family law, divorce and custody matters, and I also do quite a bit of probate and trust litigation, which entails basically any type of a dispute that comes up when people are handling someone else's property, I guess is the most general way I can describe the practice. It can be a matter of somebody being under guardianship or conservatorship while they're alive, but unable to manage their own affairs. It can be something where there's a trust in place and there's a trustee handling certain property, and disputes can arise with respect to that function. It also has to do with estates, contested estates, when people leave their will and the beneficiaries may be upset about either the terms of the will, contest the validity of the will itself, or contest the way the personal representative is administering the will. So a lot of different types of family disputes here that come up that I get involved in.
Excellent. So it's certainly not one size fits all. There's a lot of different aspects to your practice.
A lot of different aspects, and every case itself is so very different, so very fact specific. I think that gives me a real advantage in litigation in the probate court. Sometimes we'll get into cases where the lawyers on the other side don't necessarily have a probate litigation practice or focus, and what they'll often do is they'll staff their side of the case with an estate planner and a litigator. And I like to say, those two together don't necessarily make one probate litigator. But having that particular background and that niche experience, I think, has really been helpful and led to a lot of success so far in the cases that I've been handling.
Excellent.
So how did you come involved in this practice area? What was the impetus for it?
It's interesting, actually. I was when I was finishing my undergraduate degree at night at Curry College, I just randomly landed a job as a legal assistant for a law firm down on the South Shore that was focusing in insurance defense. And when I graduated, I knew that I wanted to go on and get a graduate degree, but I didn't know if I wanted to continue. My undergraduate degree was in business, focusing in accounting. Didn't know if I wanted to go the MBA route or the law school route. I was interested in the job that I had just happened upon there. I had a great boss and a great mentor there who told me, you're never going to make this decision if you sit here and keep working for me. Get yourself into the city, get into another firm, see what different areas of the law are like. So I did, and by chance was assigned to be the legal assistant to Brian Bixby at Burns & Levinson, whose practice was then and still is very similar to the one I have now. And I fell in love with the type of work that Brian was doing. It was really meaningful work. We help people through very difficult times in their lives. They rely on us as counselors and as litigators, and it's rewarding to be able to do that type of work. So I fell in love with the practice, went to law school, came back and developed that practice myself.
What's interesting is it's so personal what you do, because as you said, you deal with family law, so obviously cases where you might have custody issues, or obviously I'd be interested in hearing about same-sex marriages, divorces, or just issues for kids. But it's like you picked an area when you talk about family and probate, they're so personal. It's not business, it's so personal. So you must have a lot of client contact, and obviously day to day it just must be challenging.
It is challenging, but like I said, also really rewarding. And it's something you have to learn the balance between being someone's advisor, counselor, friend almost, and just being their advocate. And there's a fine balance between the two.
Now, what would you find when you talk about challenging and rewarding? Where's your balance? What do you find most rewarding from doing this type of work, as opposed to maybe being a construction litigator or white-collar crime litigator,
Even in those types of litigation, you're dealing with people, not just businesses. But I feel that there is a real difference dealing with people in their personal matters as opposed to their business matters. So when I have a client come to me at the end of a custody dispute or at the end of an estate litigation and thank me for the job that I did, I find the thanks to be so much more heartfelt than just having saved them some money. In some cases, I've saved them a relationship with their child, or I've saved them. I had one dispute recently where there was one particular little shoe tack, not worth any money, but my client had worn it at her wedding. It had been given to her from the mother, and one of the siblings was trying to withhold it. To get that tiny piece of property that's worth nothing back for that client meant more to her than $1 million could. And it's that type of reward that I don't think you necessarily get with other types of litigation.